Today I got a cutie with a tubie for you guys. I'm talking about the new Tube Mini from WA Audio, and it's a portable DAC slash tube amp retailing at a surprisingly attainable $500. If you know of WA Audio, you might know them for their flagship WA33 tube headphone amp, really kind of like luxurious unit. Or you might even know them for their other portable tube amp DAC combination, the WA6, although it is a lot more expensive than what we have here today. So with the Tube Mini, WA Audio is giving plebeian audiophiles like myself a glimmer of hopeful curiosity. Can you really get a bona fide tube amp and high-res DAC for $500 and in such a small package? Let's get into some of the Tube Mini's design and technicals, what it's like to actually use it, and some subjective impressions of my listens. Okay, so WA Audio Tube Mini, like I already said, all-in-one DAC and tube amp. The core of its technical performance is what WA Audio calls the Mighty Drive. And in short, Mighty Drive just combines the power that you can get from solid-state designs with the tonal warmth of traditional vacuum tube designs. And maybe some of you are thinking, oh, $500, I bet the tubes are really crappy, and come on, don't be like that. But to answer that question, really doesn't seem like WA Audio is cutting corners on the tubes here, which they say are military grade and can last through several thousands of hours of playtime. And military grade indeed. As you can see here, these tubes are brought to you by Raytheon. That's right, your favorite weapons manufacturer is making tubes, not war. Okay, anyway, on the structural design side of things. So the tubes in the Tube Mini are suspended on springs, which serve as like a shock mount that partially negates, traumatic impacts, which, it's still a tube amp, so I wouldn't drop this thing on the floor, but it also has to be portable, so it can, take a little bit of carrying wear and tear. And the spring suspension also helps negate some of the microphonic effects from moving the Tube Mini, which I'll get to in a minute. All right, so let's see what WA is giving you with the Mini. You get your WA Audio Tube Mini, as you might imagine, the semi-firm carrying case, and a USB cable, a female USB-A to a male USB-C. So case is a bit cheap and flimsy, but, whatever, gets the job done. Not a major complaint. And this cable, I guess it's fine. The only thing you have to note here is WA Audio says that you have to use this provided cable to properly drive the Tube Mini. I don't know for a fact if, that's 100% true, but I wouldn't take the risk otherwise. I mean, not a big deal so long as you keep the case. It's nice and easy to keep track of the cable and just, keep it together with the Mini. All right, so basic functions and buttons and inputs and all of that stuff that you're getting with the Tube Mini. An unbalanced 3.5 millimeter output, a balanced 4.4 millimeter output, a play button, a volume up and a volume down, a switch to flip between balanced and unbalanced outputs, and a USB-A male connector. All right, now let's talk about setup and actually just using the Tube Mini, because this is going to be you if you skip reading the brief and very clear instructions laid out by WA Audio, because whatever, you're a Neanderthal. Why did it pop? Why is it ringing? Why is it crackling? The Tube Mini is a little finicky, but I kind of find it hard to hold that against it for reasons that I'm going to get into in a moment. So let's talk about some of those finicky, characteristics that it has. So if you move the amp too much, you're going to hear a moderate ringing in your headphones, very high pitched, not super loud, but you're going to hear it. If you plugged your headphones directly into the active output when powering it on or before powering it on, you're going to hear an unpleasantly loud pop. And if you're listening to streamed music on a cell phone with the amp right next to your device, you might even hear some moments of background static or noise. So why am I not, eviscerating the Tube Mini for these issues? Well, that's because WA Audio is entirely upfront about everything that I just said, and they address it in the provided instructions. And they tell you exactly how to avoid these issues when you're listening with the Tube Mini. So the ringing from movement, well, the amp is certainly portable, but it's not a to-go sort of unit. You're supposed to have the amp on a stable surface when you're using it. The popping sounds from incorrectly connecting your headphones or changing between balanced and unbalanced outputs, well, all you have to do is you set the amp to the opposite setting of your desired output, power it on, connect your headphones to the amp, then flip the switch to the output you will actually be using. This might be a bit unconventional for the people making the Tube Mini, their first tube amp, but is it particularly cumbersome? No, I can't really say that it is, just a matter of remembering to do this. Also, if you just want to be safe, power the amp on, plug your headphones into it before you have your headphones on your head. And finally, the background static when listening to stream music. So WA Audio covers this as well. The vacuum tubes are particularly sensitive to electromagnetic interferences from cellular signals, and WA just recommends listening to offline music with the Tube Mini. I found that so long as I was following all of these instructions from WA Audio, I really didn't have any issues with the amp at all. So it's maybe a little bit of a mindful piece to have, but just be mindful when you're using it. So yeah, if you were thinking that the Tube Mini is a fun little thing that you can, throw in your pocket for some portable vintage coloration on the go, I mean, not really. We're not quite there yet. The Mini's appeal lies more in its ability to take it with you wherever you go, and then quickly and easily setting it up once you've reached a more stable environment at your destination. In other words, you're going to take this out when you get to your office, not on the commute there. So be nice to the Tube Mini, and the Tube Mini will be nice to you. Okay, so let's talk about power and sound. And here is where I'm going to be a little brief because it's kind of straightforward. So WA Audio is touting the Tube Mini as being able to drive, even the most demanding headphones like Hi-Fi Man's Susvara. And hopefully you can forgive me for not being able to get my hands on the Susvara to put the Mini to that sort of direct test, but instead, I tested the Tube Mini's power with other, hard-to-drive pairs of headphones, Dan Clark's Expanse, Sennheiser HD800S, 600 ohm Bear Dynamic DT880. Let me just cut to the point here. WA Audio wasn't lying. The Tube Mini really does pack a wallop and was able to adequately drive all of the headphones I threw at it. Even without considering the tubes in the unit, the power output alone is a really impressive feat at this size and price point. All right, so that's that. You're more than likely going to be good on power here, even if you have some, difficult headphones. So for sound impressions, rather than getting into the little idiosyncrasies of what kind of tube sound it is and this and that, I'm going to more so just answer the question, does it actually give you that, tubular goodness? And again, the answer is a very simple but strong yes. For example, I even played the Mini for a friend of mine who had never heard a tube amplifier before. This is somebody that I've shown, higher end dongles like Astle & Kern's HC2 and the Questile M15, and they were very eager to tell me that they heard absolutely no difference in sound quality, whatever. With the Tube Mini, though, I showed it to them and they just said, what makes this sound so good? And the answer is tubes, Leon. It's the tubes in the Tube Mini. So look, tube amps are one of the snobbier arenas of this hobby. No offense to the tube enthusiasts, it's true. I went into this review pretty much ready to say that the WA Audio Tube Mini is simply a good tube for beginners. And I would still say that, but I want to add that the Tube Mini is a really great piece for the tube heads who just want to keep a seriously solid tube tone in their pocket with them wherever they go. Is it going to sound as good as your WA33? I mean, no, you psycho, but it delivers the hallmarks of a tube sound. Lush mid-range, rounder sound stages, smoother treble, a certain warmth in the low end, gives you all of that. It also seems like a really good DAC. It's a very high level of detail. By the way, I didn't mention this, but the DAC goes up to 384 DSD, 24-bit bit depth, and is also MQA compatible. So all the hallmarks of a great DAC in there, along with everything that you want from a tube sound. Now, I also want to note that incorporating the Tube Mini into my current at-home setup actually yielded the best tonal results. Running the Tube Mini into a headphone amp allowed me to max out the tube amplification, thus maximizing that, tube saturation while controlling my listening levels through the amplifier. But to be clear, you don't need to do this to hear all the nice things that the Tube Mini is doing. Listening directly through the Mini, even with easy-to-drive headphones like my personal Mesa 109 Pro, provided very apparent, timbre enhancements. It honestly was really a pleasure to listen with, no matter how I was listening or what I was listening with. So overall here, Woo Audio is pulling off something that is, I think, just a very simple concept that hasn't really been done in a package like this before. And by that, I mean something that is as affordable as it is portable. I mean, better still, it's not a gimmick. It actually sounds really, really good. It's combining the best of the new, a high-res DAC with DSD and MQA functionality, with the old, the vacuum tube analog warmth. And, using the Mini is going to take a little extra care and mindfulness than your standard dongle or desktop DAC. But I think that the benefits are just abundantly worth it if you're looking for a tube sound and you don't have a ton of money to spend. Really, really good option here. Props to Woo Audio for bringing, the high quality tubes down to a price point that the mid-fi crowd can afford and to a size that the hi-fi crowd can take with them. So yeah, using the Mini was honestly a pleasure. I am genuinely considering it for my own setup, and I think you should too, or at least give it a try if you're able to. Get 10% off a wide array of brands and items from Audio 46 by using promo code Chris10 at checkout. Code may not be applicable to all brands and items, but if you're having issues with the code, send an email to support@audio46.com and they'll be able to help you out. If you want to see more reviews and videos like this, remember to like and subscribe down below. Anyway, this is Chris with Major Hi-Fi, and I'll see you guys next time.